Alright guys, let's start off with section 2.2.2 checkup. So for this section, we're all about the inequalities. Inequalities are extremely similar to being able to solve a two-step equation. You just really need to pay attention to, am I multiplying or dividing by a negative? So that's the one thing we really want to pay attention to, and I'll show you why. My first problem here, I have x divided by -4 less than 16. What I want you to start to do with these problems is simply solve first. Well, I see divided by -4, so I'm going to multiply it by -4 to both sides to do that opposite action. Cancel. Great. X is now alone, that's what I want. 16 times -4 will give me -64. Don't know why I was writing 16 again. So now ask yourself this, did I multiply or divide by a negative? I did. I multiplied by -4. If you multiply or divide by a negative, you need to flip the sign. So see how the big side is with the 16 right now? The big side now needs to be with the x it flipped. So if you multiply or divide by a negative, you flip that sign. Anything else, these are just normal solving problems. So let's look at the next one and see if we can get the hang of this. In my next one, I have a two-step equation. So I have 3x minus 2 less than or equal to -20. Like we did with the two-step, multi-step equations, start off with that -2. The opposite of -2 will be to add 2 to both sides. So I got 3x, oops, not 22. So I got 3x, the 2's cancel, -20 plus 2 will give me 18. So what I want to ask myself right now is, have I divided or multiplied by a negative yet? The answer is no. I added 2. That's not multiplication or division. So I'm going to keep my inequality the same right now. The next step I'm going to do is get rid of that 3. So I'm going to divide by 3. Cancel. X. 18 divided by 3 is 6. And again, ask yourself, did I multiply or divide by a negative? No. 3 was positive. So I can keep my sign the same. And that's the game we're playing with every question. Go back to this. Did I multiply or divide by a negative? So my next one, -7x minus 10 greater than 11. First step. X and the 7 are pretty close, so let's go ahead and add over that 10. Do the opposite action. Plus 10. And you do it to both sides. My -7x is yet to be touched. My 10s have canceled. And I'm going to do 11 plus 10, which is 21. Have I multiplied or divided by a negative? The answer is no. I did addition first. So this stays where it is. The next thing I'm going to do is I see x is being multiplied by -7. So let's divide out -7. Cancel. X, 21 divided by -7 will give me -3. Did I multiply or divide by a negative? Yes. So I need to put the point with my x. So it flips that sign around. And we got more of these as we go. So in this next problem, what I would do is probably pull my 5 to get it over with my 8x first. So let's subtract the 5x from both sides. Again, that's a process of wanting to get my x's all on one side to make my life easier. So 8x minus 5x is 3x plus 13. And these 5's have canceled. I'm left with just -20 over here. Looking this over, I can say All I did was subtraction right now, so that inequality should stay the same. Two-step equation, hopefully we're getting used to this now. We're going to subtract that 13, do that opposite action to get that to my other side. My 13s have canceled, and I'm going to get negative 33 over here. You should begin to notice that when we just do addition and subtraction, nothing's going to change. So most likely you won't change till you get to that last step. So this is still greater than or equal to. And finally, I'll do my division. So that would be x is greater than or equal to, because we have cancellation, negative 11. Oh, sorry. So I do my divided by 3, right? Negative 33 divided by 3 is 3. It doesn't matter that my answer ends up positive or negative. What matters is what did I multiply or divide by? I divided by a positive 3. Since it is positive, I don't change that sign. My next one is very, very similar. I see this negative 4x over here. I want to try to get it over to my other x. So I'm going to start off with subtracting 4x to both sides to just simplify this problem. Negative 12 minus 4, that's going to give me negative 16x plus 12 and my negative 36 because my 4's have canceled. Again, right now, that was just subtraction. No multiplication has happened yet, so I can leave it the way it is. My next step, opposite of negative 12, opposite of positive 12 is negative 12. Cancel. Negative 16x. And what are we going to have? We're going to have negative 48 over here. So what you should find now is ask yourself, I've still just done subtraction, nothing has changed yet. And then my final step will be to divide out that 16, which I don't believe divides out evenly. I think you'll get a fraction there if I am correct at all. Oh no, it's even, sorry. So cancellation there, x, negative 48 divided by negative 14 is 3. My 16 was negative when I did the division, so I flipped my sign. So again, you're flipping the sign when you have a positive or negative multiplication. So let's do my next one. My next one starts off with parentheses. So right now, let's just do distribution. So I have 12 times 1/2, or half of 12, will give me 6x. 12 times 1/3, or 12 divided by 3, will give me minus 4, greater than 8. When you are just working with one side, you don't need to worry about flipping the sign. It's only if it's happening on both sides. Now we should do our two-step equation. So the opposite of plus 4, or minus 4 is plus 4. I got 6x, 12. I have yet to do multiplication or division. My sign should not change. I'm going to divide by 6, cancel, x, and 2. This was a positive 6 that I divided by. Since it was positive, I don't need to change the sign. Okay? And number 7 is very similar, just a little longer. In this problem, we're going to start off with that distribution again. So we got the 3 and the 4. When you see fractions, one thing you can do that might help you is just think about them like division. So when I'm distributing here, I'm doing 12 divided by 3 in my head. So that's 4x, and then I'm going to do 12 divided by 4. That would give me negative 3, 9 minus 2. That's just my tip for being able to do some of that mentally in your head. Of course, you can use a calculator. If you were to enter that into the calculator the way it is, what you'd want to do is just do something like 12 times 1 divided by 3, and the calculator will do that for you as well if you're entering in that way. So we did that distribution. I have x's on both sides. So let's start by bringing our 2x to our 4x. It was a negative 2x, so I'm adding the 2x to both sides. No multiplication or division yet, so I don't need to worry about flipping that sign. So I get 6x minus 3 greater than 9. Now let's move our 3. So plus 3 to both sides to do that opposite action. So 6x, cancel, 9 plus 3 is 12. Again, it was just addition, no multiplication or division yet. My sign doesn't change. And then divide by 6, which leaves me with x and 2. It was a positive 6, so my sign does not change. So inequalities, it's solving an equation. You just have to think, am I multiplying or dividing by a negative? All right, cool. So let's move into some of these word problems, and then we are done with this section. Isaac wants to buy tomatoes and a loaf of bread. Tomatoes are $1.20 a pound, and a loaf of bread is $2. He has $8 to spend. So what I like about inequalities is you can imagine going shopping and only having a certain amount. I know I've got $8. If I only got $8, I can't spend more than that. So I can only spend less than or equal to that 8. Okay? It wants to know how many tomatoes he can buy. So if we're talking about tomatoes, I know my tomatoes are $1.20. So I could do $1.20, and x is our number of tomatoes. So for every pound of tomatoes I buy, I spend $1.20. I'm also spending $2 on a loaf of bread. So I just need the one loaf, because one loaf is a lot, and then I can add my tomatoes to it to make sandwiches or whatever. So I got to factor in my loaf of bread. So again, inequalities, look for your total. Can I spend more or less than that total? And then you can set up your problem. And I think it just wanted us to set it up. So, oh no, how many pounds of tomatoes can he buy? So we're going to solve this. Two-step equation, right? Subtract that too. So 0.2x less than or equal to 6. And this is one where we're getting a decimal here, but you still can divide normally. Your calculator can do that just fine. So I'm even going to use the calculator just to be sure. Yes. So x, 6 divided by 1.2 is 5. You still care about positive or negative in this situation. So that 1.2 was positive. I haven't had to switch my sign here. So I can buy 5 pounds of tomatoes if I want to with my $8 if I'm also buying a loaf of bread. Okay. So our next one, our next one, it says that the temperature of a city is 50 degrees Fahrenheit. It's projected to decrease. Okay. That's something that I would highlight here because decrease means I'm going down. I'm moving in a negative direction. So it's probably important. Every hour for the next several hours. Cool. Oh, by 4 degrees every hour for the next several hours. Let H represent the number of hours. When will it hit 32 degrees Fahrenheit? Write the inequality for this problem. My question is asking me about this 32 degrees. Okay? So 32. That's kind of my goal. Just like $8 was my goal before. Below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So what I want is for my problem to end up, being below the 32 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not below or equal to, it's strictly going to be below in this situation. So I want it to be less than that 32. which means 32 gets the big side, and my point goes to the other way. Okay. The change that's happening here, right, is the 4. It's decreasing by 4. So minus 4 because it is decreasing. So if you see words like decrease, you should think a negative sign in front of it. And H is our number of hours. The temperature in the city is currently 50, sorry. So right now, I'm starting at 50. I'm going down 4 degrees every hour, and I want to know how long till it's less than 32. So this is what my equation would look like. And our last step would be to solve for when it hits below. So I get negative 4h plus 50 is less than 32. Subtract out that 50 from both sides. So when I subtract out my 50, I'm going to get negative 4h. And I'm going to do 32 minus 50, which I believe, just to double check, yes, is negative 18. Negative 50 is negative, but remember, that's still subtraction. It's not till I get to the multiplication or division step that that begins to matter. So in this next step, what I have is the negative 4 and the negative 18. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. When I do that, that would come out as 4.5 as a decimal. But what's important here is because this was a negative 4, I'm going to have to flip that sign. So it should turn out as 4.5. So that's our inequalities in a nutshell. If you see an inequality, solve your problem normally, and just always keep out for dividing or multiplying by a negative. If you do that, you flip the sign.